this week. For some, getting rid of grains is a choice. For others, it's a lifestyle. Chicago's best is going gluten-free. Sunday night at 10 on WGN.
This is Chicago's very own WGN News at 9.
Family, just everybody, people that don't know her. It just feels love, like it's genuine love.
A tearful celebration at a birthday party for Kentavia Blackford, who should have been enjoying her 12th birthday. Instead, the girl is another victim of gun violence. Good evening, I'm Tamon Bradley.
I'm Jackie Bang. WGN's Gaynor Hall is live from Harvey with our top story tonight. Gaynor.
Tamon and Jackie, no arrests yet in this case. Her family is hoping for justice, and tonight they gathered to celebrate Kentavia. Roller skates, balloons, and pictures of the birthday girl who is not here.
This love, it means everything. As to know that she was loved, that's the best feeling.
Yes, it is.
That's the best feeling.
Last week, Kentavia Blackford was inside her home in Harvey on the computer choosing T-shirt designs for the party.
And next thing you know, it's a tragedy that just happened. It's like it turned your whole world upside down.
Someone opened fire outside, and she was struck by a stray bullet. The star student died the next day on her 12th birthday.
I'm sad, I'm angry. I have my moments when I watch our videos, and that's my happy moments.
Kentavia's parents decided, even in the middle of their grief, this birthday party at the Markham roller rink would go on as planned.
I just came here to support her.
This is a very special occasion for the family because this is what Kentavia wanted to do. I hope we get justice for Kentavia. I hope they get the person who did this.
She did not deserve to leave this earth like that.
No, she didn't.
The family wants to make this an annual skating party in her honor. Funeral arrangements for Kentavia are still being finalized. Reporting live tonight from Harvey, Gaynor Hall, WGN News.
Oh, Gaynor, thank you. Developing tonight, no one is in custody in a deadly shooting that happened at 4 this afternoon. Chicago police are searching for the gunman who shot a man in the head and a woman in the body. This happened in the 700 block of North Cicero. Police say the couple was stopped in traffic when a man in a white car also stopped at the light, got out of his car, and opened fire. Then the gunman took off in his car. She survived, but he was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital.
Also developing, no charges yet in a carjacking and shooting near 89th and Laughlin. Chicago police say a young man and woman were in a car when an armed man got into the back seat. The young man struggled with the gunman while the woman kept driving. Everyone eventually got out and the gunman shot the man in the leg. The gunman took off in the car but was arrested a couple blocks from the scene.
We are keeping a close eye on the weather tonight. Wicked waves along Lake Michigan prompt a lakeshore flood advisory.
WGN's Shannon Halligan has that story.
Strong winds and high waves made for dangerous conditions along Lake Michigan. It made it difficult for joggers, bikers,
hey, this camera for me, this camera,
or even photo takers near North Avenue Beach. The National Weather Service issued a lakeshore flood advisory Saturday. That means spray and flooding could reach portions of Lakeshore Drive and bike paths. Although the beach season is over, rip currents could pull someone quickly into deeper water. It happened Friday night at Loyola Beach when firefighters had to jump into action.
They got to him just as his last hand went under.
4 firefighters saved a 20-year-old man who got pulled some 300 feet from shore.
Condition-wise, it was the waves were high. The water temperature, I believe, was 58 degrees. We were worried about hypothermia setting in. The victim was just about underwater when Captain Finnegan got to him. They kept him afloat until we got some more help.
The 4 knew they didn't have time to wait for water rescue crews.
We were roped up and we swam out and he was going down. It wasn't really a choice.
It's not clear why the man went into the water, but because of the firefighters, he made it out.
There was a chop, it was cold, and he was in trouble.
And the flood advisory remains in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. At North Avenue Beach, Shannon Halligan, WGN News.
Well, the south suburbs were hit especially hard by yesterday's storms. Drivers in Flossmoor were forced to take their chances or alternate routes to navigate the floodwaters. Some drivers who decided to risk it were forced to abandon their stalled cars. Police and firefighters have been kept busy in Peatone, Madison, and Olympia Fields with devastating floods. And it is not over yet.
Let's check in now with Mike Jansen for a first look at where the storms are headed tonight. Mike.
Yeah, more wet weather headed our direction. Let's go ahead and recap. You saw some of that video. How do you end up with all that water? Well, when you have rainfall totals like this, how about over 8 inches in Channahon, Coal City, just under 8 inches. The same in Carbon Hill, Peatone at just under 7 9/10 of an inch, and just over 7 6/10 of an inch in Seneca. Morris over 7.5 inches yesterday. Wilmington 7 inches. Over 6.5 in Manhattan. Flossmoor just over 6 3/10. Similar totals here in Elwood and Will County. These are locations basically in that I-80 corridor. That's where we have that flash flood watch across much of the region, starting at 10 o'clock this evening, running until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for all these highlighted counties, but especially that I-80 corridor. That's where we have the areas that are most susceptible. Here we are. That's where we saw the heavy rainfall. Well, elsewhere, we saw that flash flood watch in effect. Yes, tonight we could be looking at rain exceeding 1 inch per hour rainfall rates, and maybe a ½ inch of rain or thereabouts what I'm expecting for most folks. We don't have any place to put any rain. There are some showers now starting to pop up out in LaSalle County. Heftier showers and storms on the other side of the Mississippi River in far northwestern parts of Illinois. It looks like right now we do expect more development as we go through the overnight hours. Unfortunately, that could come at a time when, of course, it's dark running into tomorrow morning. We tell everybody, turn around, don't drown. If you see some flooded areas later on tonight, go ahead and find a different route. We'll talk about the rainfall totals we may see. We'll also look ahead to, let's say, summer returning. That's part of your 7-day outlook coming up, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks. In between newscasts, you can keep a close eye on those storms with the free WGN weather app. Don't forget to opt in and receive push alerts so you are always up to date.
The family of an aspiring rapper is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of his killer. DeAndre Clark died last Saturday, shot many times inside his car in the 8300 block of South Maryland. The 25-year-old moved to California in 2013 to pursue a music career and went by the name Foreign Pharaoh. He was only supposed to be here for a quick visit with family.
But no one's came up with the shooter's identity, and it's out there. That's why we're pleading to the public to bring it forth.
Well, we never had a problem with him with guns or drugs or any of that. It was always his music and his family.
DeAndre Clark leaves behind a 3-year-old daughter. His funeral is next week. Cook County Crime Stoppers is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the person who killed a woman who testified at a murder trial. 18-year-old Traja Kelly was shot near 52nd and Sangamon almost 3 weeks ago. She testified in June at the trial of Deontay Davis, who was convicted of killing Kelly's cousin 3 years ago. Crime Stoppers says you don't have to give your name. They'll give you a code number.
There are fewer guns on the streets of Chicago tonight thanks to another gun turn-in and buyback event.
It's just a small dent, but police will tell you that every bit helps. They collected the weapons at the Armitage Baptist Church on North Kedzie. Anyone who turned in a gun received $100. $10 were given for BB guns, air guns, and gun replicas. In the end, police say they got 121 guns off the street, as well as 35 replicas.
The first Republican in the House of Representatives is supporting the impeachment inquiry into President Trump.
Plus, cracking issues on some Boeing jets prompt FAA inspections. What travelers need to know coming up.
And later, our dining critic heads to the northern suburbs to dig in at a new Mexican restaurant with a familiar face leading the kitchen.
You're watching Chicago's very own WGN News with Jackie Bang, Tamon Bradley, Mike Jansen with weather, and Lauren Najera with sports. This is WGN News at 9. For News at 10, watch WGN. To know what's new at 10.
We have new details tonight on
To prepare for tomorrow.
Isolated thunderstorms.
And the difference between their 10 p.m. news and ours.
Alive and Wheeling.
From Gary.
From McHenry.
They make the difference.
Breaking news in the Northwest Suburbs.
He makes the difference.
Look at some of the numbers.
When you're Chicago's very own.
Well, thank you for joining us.
You watch Chicago's very own.
The WGN News at 10 starts right now.
For News at 10, watch WGN.
I didn't have to shout out for help. I didn't have to get you a lift.
And I didn't have to call your wife to meet you at the doctor.
Because you didn't have another DVT. Not today. We discussed how having one blood clot put you at risk of having another, so we chose Xarelto to help keep you protected.
Xarelto is proven to treat and reduce the risk of DVT or PE blood clots from happening again. In clinical trials, almost 98% of people did not have another DVT or PE. Don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of blood clots. While taking, a spinal injection increases the risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. You may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Xarelto can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. It may increase your risk of bleeding if you take certain medicines. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. Do not take Xarelto if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. Before starting, tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures and any kidney or liver problems. Enjoy every moment and help protect yourself from an unexpected one, like another DVT or PE. Are you doing enough? Ask your doctor about Xarelto. To learn more about cost and how Janssen can help, visit Xarelto.com.
Puerto Rico me enseñó el béisbol. Chicago me...
Non-drowsy allergy relief.
As House Democrats press forward with their impeachment inquiry of President Trump, we're learning more about the White House's handling of calls with foreign leaders. A former Trump administration official tells the AP the White House severely restricted distribution of memos detailing President Trump's calls with foreign leaders, including Vladimir Putin of Russia and Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. They did so after embarrassing leaks of Mr. Trump's conversations early in his tenure. After the disclosures, a presidential advisor raised the possibility of lie detector tests for people in the West Wing. President Trump's call with Ukraine's president is at the center of the impeachment inquiry after a whistleblower alleged the White House tried to lock down information about the call. Congressman Mark Omode is now the first House Republican to support the impeachment inquiry. The Nevada lawmaker told reporters he's a big fan of oversight and wants the House committee to examine the president's interactions with Ukraine. Meantime, Mr. Trump fired off an angry tweet about impeachment. Can you imagine if these do-nothing Democrat savages, he said, had a Republican Party who would have done to Obama what the do-nothings are doing to me? Oh, well, maybe next time. Presidential harassment. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer weighed in on the impeachment inquiry while speaking at an event in Washington tonight.
We are entering a very delicate time in our democracy. I want all of you to know I've been speaking with Speaker Pelosi constantly, and I fully support her decision to open an impeachment inquiry into President Trump.
As for President Trump, he was golfing at the Trump National Golf Club in Virginia with Senator Lindsey Graham and legendary pro golfers Gary Player and Annika Sorenstam.
In 2020, the Democrats running for president are campaigning in key states. Pete Buttigieg took his campaign to Nevada, which holds its caucuses in February. But at an event tonight, the lights went out and his microphone went silent when he was speaking. Well, people in the crowd provided some light with their smartphones, and the mayor of South Bend carried on without a mic. Elizabeth Warren took her campaign to South Carolina, hoping to shore up support among black voters. The Massachusetts senator held a town hall at the historically African-American Clinton College. She explained her idea for a wealth tax and how it could provide child care, universal pre-K, and higher wages for preschool teachers. She also said she would appoint a public school teacher as Secretary of Education.
A structural problem was found on a relatively new Boeing plane. Now the FAA is ordering they all be inspected. The mandatory inspections are for the 737 next generation models. Boeing informed the FAA about the problem after discovering cracks in the plane's pickle forks. They attach the plane's body to its wings. They help manage the stress, torque, and aerodynamic forces bending the connection between the wings and the body of the jet. Pickle forks are supposed to be able to perform more than 90,000 landings and takeoffs without cracking. Horses and veterans go together. How that connection is saving lives. Next.
Later, we're dealing with floods, but other parts of the country are already measuring snowfall in inches. Find out where, just ahead.
The rule of three states, things that come in threes are inherently more appealing. We couldn't agree more. Three SUVs, one GMC. Step up to GMC and get 14% below MSRP on most 2019 Terrain models. That's nearly $6,100 on this Terrain Denali. Plus, get an additional 3% purchase allowance when you finance through GM Financial.
Introducing a razor that works differently. The Gillette Skin Guard, designed with a guard between the blades that helps protect skin. It guards against razor burn on the neck and irritation on the face. Get the shave you've been waiting for. Gillette Skin Guard.
State-of-the-art design.
The switch.
This week, for some, getting rid of grains is a choice. For others, it's a lifestyle.
I've never had gluten food before.
Chicago's best is going gluten-free. Sunday night at 10 on WGN. Download the CB app today.
All the top stories plus a Pat and Adam Hogue break down the Bears-Vikings game.
We'll see you Monday, 4 to 10.
Most people like to know how fast their car goes from 0 to 60. But wouldn't you prefer to know how fast it goes from 60 to 0? The 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan with 6 stability-enhancing features that can help you slow down in an emergency. Come in now to your Volkswagen dealer and lease the sophisticated and capable 2019 Tiguan S 4Motion for just $249 a month.
Well, you may have spotted people on horses around the city today. Those horses are helping save the lives of American veterans.
WGN's Hannah Welker has that story.
The city of Chicago was filled with more than a dozen horses with veterans on horseback today, all for an amazing cause to combat veteran suicide. And it's all thanks to a great program called Bravehearts. Lining the streets of Chicago, sitting tall and proud, America's heroes and their four-legged partners.
Bravehearts saved my life.
Ron Hathaway rides horses a few days a week at Bravehearts Farm in Harvard, Illinois, a therapeutic riding program helping veterans cope with PTSD.
And we see veterans come to us, whether it's with physical, cognitive, emotional needs, wherever they're coming from, whatever their struggles or challenges are, the horses just step in and help people find their greatness. They help give people joy and peace, and they help people find purpose.
Ron's journey hasn't always been a smooth ride, though. After 24 years of active duty, he joined Bravehearts at one of the lowest points in his life.
At that point, I was suicidal. I was ready to take my life. I had already set the date. I'd already known how I was going to do it, when it was all going to happen.
Thanks to his wife and the horses, he's here today.
So they got me on a horse named Boone. And in the first 4 or 5 steps with that horse, I had this big.
Today, veterans rode 20 miles through Chicago, a number that represents the 20 veterans who commit suicide each day in the U.S. They've done the ride in New York City, Boston, and plan to ride in Houston next month.
And I just want all the vets out there to know that there is help out there, that reach out, whether it's to our barn or to a different barn, and they will find a way. I knew nothing about the horses when I first started. I would have never thought they would have worked, but they did. It's magic.
I'm Hannah Welker, WGN News.
The Chicago Public Library hosted a teen block party to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the U Media program.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot joined the celebration and later spoke at the event. The party took place outside the Harold Washington Library Center. Students, alumni, and families were invited to join. The U-Media program has been providing Chicago teens with a place to gather since it opened back in 2009. It offers them the use of a wide range of digital media resources, including graphic design, photography, and 3D designs. They also have access to mentors.
Chicago may be waterlogged, but other parts of the country are dealing with snow. Mike Jansen has your full forecast next.
Easing local Latino anxieties about the 2020 census. WGN News Wednesday.
At Kia, 3,000 employees are working hard each day to build the best vehicles for our drivers.
Today.
Well, fall has just started, but yep, that's winter. It's in Montana. It's not here. Take a look at the snowfall. The record snowstorm is threatening the state this weekend. The National Weather Service says some places may get, believe this or not, as much as 30 inches of snow. That's just in the lower elevations. The mountains could see 3 to 5 feet.
Don't we know a guy that used to work here that moved out to Montana?
Mark.
Yeah,
Mark
you think he can have snow up to his waist?
Oh, he's probably in Arizona right now.
You think so? Yeah, you can go someplace warm if you can. You know, we have a different little bit of precipitation issues going on around here. It is not snow, but more rain on the way. And some locations are actually picking up a little bit of wet weather already this evening. Now, the chance for rain is just going to go up during the overnight hours. And you know what? We don't have anywhere to put any more rainfall. The cloud's been with us all day long, had a few breaks as we went towards the early evening hours. Now we start thinking about the potential for more flash flooding coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. So we've got 25 minutes there about. We got this flash flood watch that is going to go into effect, and that's going to continue until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for all these counties highlighted in green. If you are along the I-80 corridor, that's where I think we have the biggest places. That's where we have to watch, where we have the biggest threat of seeing that flash flooding. Right now, some light showers starting to pop up, it looks like, basically from Kendall County into LaSalle County. At the top of the hour, Peru out in far western LaSalle County was reporting light rainfall, but there's a whole lot more on the way. Let's not forget about what's going on at the beaches. We still have this east-northeast wind, basically around 10 to 15 miles per hour. We know that there were some flooding issues, the potential of that going on. The beach hazard statement that goes until 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Here's the idea. Stay out of the water. Stay out of Lake Michigan. Let's let the wave heights go down before you even think about wandering even close to the beach. How's that sound? As for your current temperatures, 54 in Crystal Lake, 10 degrees warmer in Kankakee. It's 60 at Midway, 58 at Chicago's lakefront. At O'Hare, cloudy, 57 degrees, north-northeast wind at 15. 67 was the high today, 54 the low, in between the averages of 70 and 49. Now let's give you a wider view. This is not what we want to see. Showers and thunderstorms from Iowa down into southwestern Missouri. We have not only a mid-level wave headed in our direction, this disturbance, but also a warm front that's going to be lifted in our area. So even after we get the bulk of the energy with this mid-level disturbance to go through here, I think by, we'll say, late tomorrow morning, you still may have that warm front lingering around that could mean a couple of spotty showers tomorrow afternoon. So let's watch that future outlook. We got a lot of cloud cover out there, and boy, it really looks like after, say, 3 o'clock in the morning when we start ramping up that rainfall. Here we are at 8:30. We've got showers and some thunderstorms around. Still at noon, you're thinking 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30, the Bears game kicking off, maybe some spotty showers. We'll have to watch for that. We may actually be dealing with 1 or 2 stray showers during the latter parts of tomorrow evening. Behind that front, southerly winds and a pretty good dose of sunshine on Monday means we're going to jump back into summer. But between now and then, we don't once again get too stuck on these exact locations for the hefty rainfall. But I think a lot of us could see maybe around a ½ inch tonight, but maybe over an inch to possibly as much as 2 inches of rain in some locations. Where exactly that ends up is still yet to be determined. But again, flash flooding could be a problem. So for the rest of tonight, we're going to watch for maybe a few more showers here this evening. Then as we get after midnight, storms become likely. Temperatures basically holding steady where they are. Storms likely then tomorrow morning. Still could see some spotty showers in the afternoon. High of around 70, I think, at O'Hare. And I think that's also going to be the temperature at kickoff for the Bears game tomorrow. Lots of cloud cover, slight chance for a few showers out there as well. As you get into your Monday, we get the rain out of here and we bring in the heat and humidity. Highs in the mid-80s on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon, chance for widely scattered showers and storms. More likely, the wet weather arrives here on Wednesday with a cold front with a high of 70. Still looking at the chance for some scattered showers on Thursday, but behind that front, highs in the lower 60s. And even when you bring back some more sunshine on Friday and Saturday, lower 60s for afternoon highs. So you got the shorts and the short sleeves for the kids as they head off to school on Monday. And by the later parts of the week, it's like, hey, where's that jacket? Do you remember?
Closet dilemma.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, the late comedian Gilda Radner of Saturday Night Live fame would be proud. Crowds packed the Park West for the annual Gilda's Night Out event. Proceeds benefit Gilda's Club Chicago, which is a free cancer support community for anyone impacted by cancer. Aside from all the mingling, there was also a silent auction. The highlight of the event were the old clips from Radner's days at SNL, shown on the big monitor for all to enjoy.
Google is hosting what it calls a wonderful weekends festival at Maggie Daley Park through tomorrow. Representatives from Google will help you with its search engine, Google Maps, cloud computing software and hardware, and much more. It's also kid-friendly. Prizes from Chicago restaurants and the arts community will be given to visitors via a giant gumball machine. And the event wraps up tomorrow night.
Quite big there, huh? Ahead, the 12th annual Chicago Gourmet is drawing celebrity chefs and foodies to Millennium Park. We'll take you there.
And later in sports, Joe Madden gets clarity about his future with the Cubs.
This week on WGN Morning News, we kept you updated on all the news surrounding the impeachment inquiry of President Trump. We talked Chicago Bears with former wide receiving great Dennis McKinnon. And Marcus won our first and hopefully last grape spitting contest. Next week, we're around town at the Chicago Sports Summit and at fun fall cooking classes. And we're talking to Henry Winkler, Eddie Murphy, Wesley Snipes, Billy Bob Thornton, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Next week on WGN Morning News.
Jeep Adventure Days are going on now at Bettenhausen Jeep on 159th Street in Tinley Park. Right now, get $6,500 total cash on a new 2019 Jeep Renegade. Hurry in and get $5,250 total cash on a new 2019 Jeep Cherokee or lease for $239 per month. Lease a new 2019 Jeep Wrangler for $299 per month. Lease a new 2020 Jeep Gladiator for $309 per month. Shop the largest Jeep inventory 24/7 at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
Wireless network claims are so confusing. America's most reliable network, the nation's largest and most reliable network. The best network is even better? Best, fastest, best, enough. Sprint's doing things differently. They're offering a new 100% total satisfaction guarantee. I mean, I think Sprint's network and savings are great, but don't just take my word for it. Try it out and decide for yourself. Switch to Sprint and get both an unlimited plan and one of the newest phones included for just $35 a month.
6, 7, 8.
Big dreams start with small steps. But dedication can get you there. So just start small. Start saving. Easily set, track, and control your goals right from the Chase mobile app. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Alexa, play Weekend Mix.
The Lincoln MKC. Connecting the world inside with the world outside. So you can move through both a little easier. Introducing the well-connected 2019 Lincoln MKC. Lease the Lincoln MKC for only $329 a month. Only at your Lincoln dealer.
Just getting started. Big names in the culinary world are at Millennium Park this weekend. It's the grand tasting event, part of the 12th annual Chicago Gourmet. It's taking place at the Pritzker Pavilion. Celebrity chefs are offering up some of their favorite dishes. There is a lot of delicious food to sample, as well as wines, spirits, and beer. Mercado Cocina, a Mexican restaurant that takes inspiration from Europe, is delighting diners in North suburban Glenview.
Here's Chicago Tribune restaurant critic Phil Vattel's review.
An office complex across from a metro station isn't the likeliest destination for fine dining, but Mercado Cocina in Glenview is worth the journey. Chef Yannitzin Sanchez, Chef Yanni to all and sundry, has opened restaurants in Chicago and the western suburbs. This is her first restaurant on the North Shore, and folks up there are in for a treat. There's little about the tiny 75-seat interior that suggests sophisticated cuisine. The decor offers bare tables, metal chairs, and not quite bright enough globe lights, along with brightly colored walls and a few nice murals. But just wait. Start with a margarita, but not just any margarita. I recommend the watermelon margarita. While watermelons are still around, the bright red drink is contrasted with black salt, and it's terrific. It goes well with the chips and salsa, which is the first and last Mexican cliche you'll find on Yanni's menu. Sanchez's food is true to her Mexican roots, but shows evidence of European influence. Smoked octopus, for instance, is glazed with chilies and tomatoes and placed over cannellini bean relish alongside a Spanish romesco sauce. Lamb barbacoa takes its inspiration from Italian ossobuco. It's a slow-cooked bone-in lamb shank that's pull-apart tender, the better to enjoy with house-made tortillas. On the contemporary side, there's an upside-down tuna tostada. The sushi-grade tuna is tossed with guajillo and ponzu, sprinkled with sesame seeds, and the blue corn chip goes on top, crowned with radishes and avocado mousse. Flautas, on the other hand, are based on a childhood memory, where a woman in Sanchez's village sold flautas wrapped in lettuce leaves, thus the lettuce garnish on the plate, along with the crispy flautas themselves, filled with chipotle-seasoned potato puree. My favorite dish on the menu are the langostinos al mojo de ajo, which are plated with two different moles, one spicy, one sweet, and the opposing flavors harmonize beautifully under the briny prawns. I give Mercado Cocina, 2300 Lehigh Avenue in Glenview, 2 stars. Wherever I find Chef Yanni, I find delicious and creative food, and her newest restaurant is no exception. For WGN News and the Chicago Tribune, this is Phil Vattel.
NASA has a tough message for SpaceX founder Elon Musk. It's time to deliver. SpaceX has several billion-dollar contracts with NASA, but didn't respond to requests for comments. SpaceX and Boeing were awarded big contracts with the expectation that the companies would have spacecrafts up and running by 2017. Both have seen extensive delays.
Meantime, when NASA's Mars 2020 rover heads to the red planet, you can put your name on board. The mission takes off next July. Scientists are hoping the rover helps them answer questions about Mars, including the possibility of life. If you sign up online, you will get a souvenir boarding pass. You'll also stencil your name on a chip with an electronic beam and place it on the rover. But you gotta hurry. You have until September 30th to submit your name on NASA's website.
A group of 4th and 5th graders in Milwaukee are getting some first-class instruction in etiquette.
Well, Camille Monk, owner of the Social Development Company, is teaching the 6-week class to elementary school kids at Brown Street Academy. How to properly hold silverware is important, but lessons go way beyond the table. Respect, self-esteem, and manners are all part of the curriculum. Monk says it's all about showing kids how to act from the inside out. She's hoping to give students a foundation for their future.
It may sound outdated, social graces, charm school, nobody does that anymore. Well, that's the problem. That's why we have kids acting out, because nobody's teaching it anymore.
Well, Ms. Monk is also holding an etiquette class for parents.
Great idea. Coming up, things get heated down in St. Louis as the Cubs try to spoil the Cardinals' postseason plan.
And the Sox fight to the finish to end their WGN run. Lauren Majera is next in sports.
Closed captioning for WGN News is sponsored by Luna.
Right now with Luna, buy one room, get carpet, hardwood, or laminate for all other rooms for only $99.
773-202 Luna. Chicago's best is going gluten-free. Sunday night at 10 on WGN.
This is the Chevy Silverado with the world's first invisible trailer.
Invisible trailer?
Hop in. Silverado offers an optional technology package with up to 15 different views, including one enhanced view that makes your trailer appear invisible. Wow, that's pretty sweet. Cool.
Where's the trailer though?
Or get a total value of over $97.60 on this Silverado All-Star without optional tech package or enhanced invisible view.
Visit ChevyDriveChicago.com today.
Lauren Majera is here. What's up?
Unfortunately, we might know Joe Maddon's fate a little bit sooner than expected. Maddon said that he and Theo Epstein plan to talk tonight about his future with the club, and they could have a resolution by tomorrow.
Yeah, just to discuss everything right now, moving forward, that kind of stuff. So we haven't had any kind of a talk yet about any of this. I mean that sincerely, so we will tonight. I can involve a few cocktails? Probably, yeah. Not that I need any more of those, man. I'm good.
Maddon and the Cubs looking to keep the pressure on the Cardinals in the division race. They could clinch with a win and a Brewers loss. Kyle Schwarber not helping their cause. Teeing off on the first pitch he saw tonight. Into the bullpen it goes for home run number 38 this year. Cole Hamels struck out 8 in 4 scoreless innings. Lights out, but nicked Yadier Molina in the second. And he took exception to that. Stared Hamels down on his way to first, charged the mound, benches cleared, no punches were thrown, and things cooled down quickly. But the Cubs offense kept their foot on the gas. Ian Happ continuing his recent tear at the dish, rips his second homer of the night to left. Up to 11 on the season. Cards cut the lead to 1, but Tony Kemp gave the Cubs some breathing room in the 8th. Singles to right to bring in some insurance. Cubs got 2 in the inning. Right now they still lead 8-6 in the 9th. Last night we said goodbye to the Cubs, and tonight it's the Sox. The final game on our air, and a great job by Steve Stone, Jason Benetti, and the entire WGN crew for sharing so many memorable stories from the South Side, dating all the way back to 1948. Executive producer Bob Vorwald doing the honors to start Game 2 of the Sox doubleheader. Throwing out the first pitch, Tigers let the Sox get on the board first. Zach Collins dropping a bloop shot to left center to bring Eloy Jimenez and James McCann around to score. Sox were the only team in baseball without a loss when leading after 8 innings, 59-0 until tonight. Alex Colomé couldn't lock down the save. Served up a 3-run homer to John Hicks, but Ricky's boys don't quit. Yoel Moncada into pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th, and he delivers. Sends one over the wall in dead center for his 25th homer of the year. Sox within 1, Daniel Polka, their last chance at the dish, but he goes down swinging. Sox lose it 4-3. Tim Anderson went 0 for 2 with 2 walks in Game 2. Didn't play in Game 1, but the Sox had plenty of firepower without him. Danny Mendick went deep in the 6th, celebrating his 26th birthday in style. Mendick's 2nd homer of the year, and then Eloy Jimenez followed suit in the 7th. Eloy banging one off the foul pole for his 31st of the year to make it 7-1. More than enough run support for Ronaldo Lopez. Struck out 9 and gave up just 1 earned on 5 hits in 8 innings of work. Got a standing ovation when he left the game in the 9th. Lopez picks up his 10th victory of the year as the Sox win 7-1. College football now. Coach Fitz and the Cats at Camp Randall today held the 8th-ranked Badgers offense to just 1 touchdown, but Wisconsin was all over. Hunter Johnson got the strip sack for the touchdown here. Johnson had to leave the game for a while after taking a huge hit. Aiden Smith came in and got blindsided for a pick 6. Badgers went up 24-3 at that point. Johnson came back in and threw 1 pass, but then he left the game for good on the next play. You can see here he came up limping on this run out of bounds. But Smith rallied the troops, found J.J. Jefferson in the back of the end zone to pull Northwestern within 9. With just over 4 minutes to go, Fitz opting to go for 2 twice and didn't convert on either one of them. They were in Badger territory again late, but led Riley Lees a little too much on the 4th and 19 to keep the drive alive. The Cats' comeback comes up short. They drop their 2nd straight, 24-15. Notre Dame home coming off that rough loss to Georgia, taking on number 18 Virginia. Irish were trailing up the break, but the defense, well, they came out swinging in the second half. Julian Okwara with the sack and forced fumble. It's scooped up by Ade Tecumbo Ogundije and returned for the touchdown. Big night for Tony Jones Jr. Ran for a season-high 131 yards and 3 touchdowns. Cavaliers only had 4 rushing yards thanks to the Irish's 8 sacks. Notre Dame improves to 3-1. Final score 35-20. NIU on the road at Vanderbilt. Huskies hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 17 straight games before last week. Now they've done it 2 weeks in a row. They let Keon Brooks break off a 61-yard touchdown in the opening drive and could never catch up from there. Vandy hangs on for their first victory of the year, 24-18. Northern has now gone 0-3 since winning their season opener. The Blackhawks called up most of the Rockford Ice Hogs to play the Bruins today. They lost 8-2, so the A-team has an exhibition game in Germany tomorrow. The Bears waived tight end Bradley Sowell and signed defensive lineman Jonathan Harris from the practice squad. And the Red Stars finished off the regular season with a win before starting their playoff run. And finally, check out this poor Colombian cyclist at the Road World Championship in England. Had some tire troubles with just under 50 miles to go in the race. Tried to get a ride, but no team cars in sight. He did eventually get a functioning rear wheel, but not before hiking up part of the course on foot and having a breakdown.
Stop. His teammates are probably going to make fun of him.
So are we.
Some people think that's going to be...
Shame on her. That's the news for this Saturday night. I'm Jackie Bank.
And I'm Timon Bradley. See you tomorrow. Good night.
For news at 10.